Are you looking for an escape from manufactured truth wrapped in selfish agenda? Don't you just want to have a real and raw conversation, all masks and rules aside? That's what you're getting here at Titan Evolution Podcast. Get rid of all the nonsense information and discuss everything under the sun without filters. Listen to real stories of real people who will put your current perspectives to the test, guide you on living the life you truly want, and see everything free from judgment and pretenses. Time to get rid of those unhealthy environments and let your authentic self shine. Here are your hosts, Travis Johnson and Carol Carpenter.
All right, everybody. So welcome to the show. I'm Carol Carpenter, and this is my co-host, Travis Johnson. Hello. And we have a special guest today on our podcast. As you can see, it's David Carter. Hi, David.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Carol. Hey, Travis.
And I'm going to give a little bit of background on you, David. So David began his successful playing. Erase that. Whoever's editing it, we'll start over here. David began his success playing football at his alma mater, UCLA, and ultimately the National Football League. He played for the Arizona Cardinals, Chicago Bears, and Dallas Cowboys. And he soon discovered the dark side of pro sports with injuries, prescription meds, and excessive eating to maintain his 300 plus pounds on his 6'6" frame. After watching Forks Over Knives, he changed his personal and professional life, abandoning meat and dairy for a vegan lifestyle. Using his NFL connections, he now spreads the word about his mission to build awareness and educate the masses about eating healthy. Speaking about the oppression in the food system at universities, including Harvard, Penn State, NYU, and UCLA, and many more. David is a film producer and participated in the leading Netflix documentary Game Changers with James Cameron and Bill Clinton. And What the Hell. He has also launched Top Athlete Life with his longtime friend, Reggie Walker, to help others achieve the best versions of themselves, both professionally and in their lives. Does that pretty much sum it up for you, David?
Yeah. And then also too, I changed I went plant-based while I was in the league, but I lost weight. I got down to 260, and then I put the weight back on as plant-based and played as a 320-pound plant-based nose tackle. So
how did you do that? I mean, because usually when you do something like that, it's meat-based.
Well, you look at the largest animals in the world, like elephants and, even the cows that you eat, even the biggest dinosaurs, they're all plant-based. So and gorillas, strongest animals, they don't eat meat. So it's, just doing the same thing that they did. And, got a lot of, reached out to a bunch of dietitians and nutritionists, doctors, and bodybuilders, and just sort of, gathered as much information as I could and made a plan for myself and moved forward with that. So, that's how I did that. But it was interesting because a lot of players were like, man, they didn't know that they didn't know that I didn't eat meat, right? They just found out when they just saw me eating, and they're like, bro, where's your food? Where's the meat at? Like, where's your protein at? And I'm just like, oh, it's here. It's just different than what you're used to. And they started asking me for help because they were having, the coaches were like, you should tone up and lose some weight, telling them that, right? Or they had high blood pressure, or they were having problems because their weight was over, it was bad. And they would come to me for help. It was interesting. They would come to me and before the nutritionist, the team nutritionist.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was funny. But, yeah.
Well, I tell you, this weekend we were talking about you. And we were talking about like the movie Game Changers. And of course, being in a room of mostly men, the only thing that came up was that experiment that you guys did about erections.
Yeah.
That was in Game Changers. And I couldn't believe that we're having, I'm sitting here going, really, this is out of the whole film. This is what we're discussing this weekend.
But you think about it though, like if you're talking to a bunch of dudes, like, and they're like, oh man, eating meat is for men, and vegans are, they're soft or this, that, and whatever. And it's just like, all right, bro, like you're eating meat, but you're the one who's really soft, bro. Like literally.
Yes, literally.
So yeah.
How much do you have to eat plant-based in order to put on that much weight? I just picture you with a bale of hay, and I know that that's not true, right? This is my first thought. Like, how much do you have to intake how many meals do you sit down and do in order to maintain that kind of weight?
Well, it's not that much, bro. It's really just the same. Like let's keep it real. I was doing some like crazy stuff. I called it Operation Weight Gain, right? Where I was doing I was eating, I would eat not a pound, a gram of protein per pound. So I was 300 pounds. So I was doing 300 grams of protein or more, or trying to, a day. And then I was doing 8,000 calories a day. But that's because I was trying to get from 260 to 300. And then I got there, and then I just would eat regularly and maintain whenever I was hungry and just try to get my, 3 to 4 meals in a day. So, yeah. But, even now, I'm 240 or 230, right? And I eat twice a day, once a day, whenever, and small snacks in between. But you don't have to do it too much. It's not, you still gain weight from plants, from vegetables, beans, rice, everything is vegetables, you even flavor all your meat with veggies. So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's just hard to fathom, when you think about vegetarians, right? It's hard to fathom getting that much protein from just vegetables. And I think that might be a misconception.
Yeah, most definitely. You even look now, Mike Tyson is pretty much plant-based, right? He's even opening up plant-based, he's doing all kinds of stuff. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he had 2 heart attacks, had his chest cracked open twice. He's plant-based, and he's still swole, right? So he's not all the way plant-based, but he's pretty much, he's 90% or 80%, which is a lot. It just, you look at the food pyramid is all wrong because of marketing and, lobbying by the meat and dairy industries. They're industries. They have a marketing segment as well, marketing, portion of their business as well. And, for example, milk does a body good, right? The milk industry got sued because milk doesn't do a body good. It's been deemed as one of the most toxic things you can put into your body, according to the FDA, right?
Wow.
Because, yeah. So now, you realize you don't ever hear that no more. You don't hear the milk industry, dairy industry saying, but the milk is good for your bones, build strong bones. That was their main thing when I was growing up. They had a commercial where the dude, he was like, oh, look at this strong man, and he's lifting this wheelbarrow, and then his arms got ripped off. You're like, he should have drank milk. You don't see any of that anymore.
It's true. Yeah. Well, it was really interesting too, because even in Game Changers, there was the segment where they were taking blood from the guys and then sending it through a centrifuge, right, to separate the plasma and then the plasma was either cloudy or clear. And so something that I do is, people think I'm a vampire, but please don't call me a vampire after this. But they would take blood from me and do the same thing, and they would use the plasma, and in microneedling, it's just a bunch of trauma that you put onto your face, and then they would spread the plasma onto your face. But when they were doing the separation, they would always say to me, yours is super clear and golden. And I never understood the significance of it until after I watched the Game Changers. And it was oh, okay, so people that eat meat, theirs is cloudier, it's not as clear. And maybe that's why, the microneedling has such a much more impactful, a result on me, is because of the way I eat.
Yeah, it's you have quality plasma. And you're not a vampire for that. That's athletes, we do that too. It's called PRP, where they take your plasma and they inject it into your joints or
Oh,
other parts of your body or whatever to help with the healing process.
that is interesting. I didn't know they did that. So what we use on a cosmetic level, you guys use as athletes. That's phenomenal. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
Cool.
yeah, but it just goes to show you, like, even like you just said, it really changes the way your body is able to heal itself, and just the way you're able to go throughout your day. Like, you look younger. It just helps. It just changes everything, because you are what you eat, right? And
Yeah.
so if you drink a lot of, you drink a lot alcohol, you get drunk. If you eat dead stuff, your body's gonna age faster. You're gonna have a lot of extra stuff in your body that you don't need, right? So, and people are like, oh, why am I? I'm trying to eat healthy. I'm cutting the fat off of the meat and everything, and but there's still fat marbled in the meat, and you're eating animal fat, right? And you're complaining as to why you can't lose the fat that you have on your body when you're actually, putting fat in your body. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's a different perspective for most individuals, because we were raised on this is the way to eat, and this is the way to eat healthy. And the whole time I don't think we were well educated in that.
No, we weren't. And it goes to even looking at, like, the doctors, right? And they're supposed to be our health professionals. But when you go to medical school, you only take an hour or 1 to 4 hours of nutrition study, because doctors' jobs are not to help you with nutrition. Their job is to push, medical, whatever new technology is out or whatever pharmaceutical is out to you. And because the hospitals, they only make money when people are sick. So if people are eating healthy and they're living healthier lives, they're going to have less health complications, which means they make less money, right? That's why if you look at the health industry today, or if you look at the medical industry or cancer, for example, cancer treatment, the only legal forms of cancer treatment in America are chemotherapy, surgery, and radiation. And if you try to treat it with food, there was a Dr. Gerson who did it in the 50s, and he had 500 patients, and they were terminally ill cancer patients, cured 498 of them, right? And the other 2 died. But 498 cancer patients, treated them with food. And there's a documentary on that. You can watch it. And now after that, because he was marketing it and everything was on the newspapers, after that, they banned him he was arrested. They sent him out. They banned it and made it illegal to treat cancer with anything other than chemotherapy, surgery, and radiation, which have a 97% with like a crazy failure rate. More people die from the chemotherapy and the radiation than they do from the cancer.
Well, what's crazy is he just showed you it was 98% effective. And yet,
right,
what are we doing? Right? That's insane. I know I'm looking at Travis, and I know he's dying to ask you the question that we ask all of our guests. So we're going to throw it to him.
What's up, bro? I know you're going to say something crazy. What are you going to do?
It's not crazy. If you've listened to our show, What's Is Not Yes published, there's no way you can know what I'm going to ask you. But, Carol listed out the conglomerate of all the things that you've done and accomplished, which makes you a Titan, is why we brought you on the show. But I want to ask you, what is it about you, not the things that you've done, but about you that makes you that Titan?
Man, bro, I just like to help people. And, I don't know, that's a really good question. Nobody's ever asked me that question before.
Helping people didn't get you into the NFL, right? You had to be able to perform.
Right.
You had to get up every day and practice and all that stuff. What is it about you that makes you that Titan?
Man, I'm just determined. I'm determined, right? And it's just like, I find something and I know it's right and it's what I want to do, and I'll just get up and I'll just, block everything else out and just go full speed 100% and just try to just do my best to get it done. And, and that's it. And I'm yeah, that's just me, bro. And people like to tell you it doesn't matter what you are, what you do or who you are. People always tell you, you can't do this, you can't do that. people have always told me you're not going to make it to the NFL, and I made it to the NFL, right? My coach told me I wasn't going to make it to the NFL. I made it to the NFL. Like when I came into the Cardinals, they were like, "You're going to be a camp body, right?" And I ended up starting in my rookie year. A camp body is basically you're here to fill, for the starting guys to practice against, so we can have a look team. And I ended up starting over a second round draft pick in my rookie year as an undersized nose tackle. They told me I wasn't going to, you don't do the film production thing. You don't know what you're doing. I went to school and started producing, started doing stuff like that. It's so I guess just people telling you, oh, you can't do it. Or it's like, man, you don't even know me. I'm so determined. I'm very creative. I'm very resourceful. Watch me do me. And
there's a lot of talk out there about positive and reinforcement, and I'm a fan of what you described. I'm a fan of using my haters' tears as the fuel in my fucking jetpack, because I struggle with positive reinforcement. Travis, you're doing a great job. You want to see me fall on my face, go ahead and give me a compliment about the stuff that I'm doing. But if you see Travis, you're too short, you're too fat, you're old, you're too young, you're too whatever, there's no way you can do this, fucking watch me. And it sounds like you use that same kind of negative fuel to propel you through all the things that you did.
Yeah, especially, and I know I'm right. I don't mind being wrong. I don't mind being wrong, but I know I'm right. Watch me. I'm gonna show you. And I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody, but I'm going to prove to myself. Like I got this. So yeah.
No, I love that about you, and I got to meet you and Reggie Walker in St. Louis, which is just a fabulous weekend there. For those listening to the show, if you haven't already heard our interview with Reggie Walker, David Carter's partner, they do all sorts of business stuff together. They were on the Cardinals together. Go ahead and check out that interview. But fantastic meeting you in St. Louis. So down to earth, just a really cool dude, and I really enjoyed spending that time with you for that weekend.
Yeah, man, you're cool, bro. One of the funniest guys I've met in a while, bro. So it's been a pleasure, bro. And me and Reg, we love you, bro. Like Reg was like, man, he was saying, you're going to love being on this show. I was on there cussing and everything. Great time. So
yeah. I just told Reggie, be yourself. Be yourself. It's all good.
But that's the thing, right? We put all these restrictions out about who we are, right? I don't want to talk about what you've done, right? Because what you've done, it stands for itself. What the point of the show is to talk about who you are as a person without any of the titles, without any of that stuff stripped down. You mentioned that your determination is what really drives you as a person, and really all the things that you've done were an outcome because of that determination that you've had. But I know it couldn't have always been easy. What were some of the struggles? What were some of the things, the hard things that you had to go through in order to get to where you are? Obviously, there's tons of stuff getting to the NFL. It's like, what, less than 1% of people that play high school football ever make it to the NFL?
Bro, yeah, 0.014. It's a really, really small percentage. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, man. Well, and say I grew up. So I grew up in South Central, which is not necessarily the best neighborhood at all. I had a gun pulled out on me when I was in the 4th grade at my school bus stop, waiting for my mom to come pick me up. And so I had bullet holes in my house and the street sign. Nobody in my house was gang affiliated. As a matter of fact, my mom worked for the police department. But just getting out of that, and then and then going through school and all that, I guess I didn't have a lot of real mentors. I was just kind of really just figuring it out on my own. I had both my parents were there, but just didn't really have any direction and didn't really understand what my purpose or what drove me. And that was like the biggest, I feel like that was the biggest thing. And, being in football didn't really help. It was like a fake purpose, right? It was like, oh, I'm playing football, I'm good at it, And to be honest with you, I didn't really like football. I like football. I like to play the game, but I just wasn't I wasn't one of those guys who know, like Reggie. Reggie knows all the players, right? He knows all the this, that, and the other, and what their stats and all this. I don't give a damn. I don't watch football now. Like, I watch football. I watch film for the sake of getting better at my, getting better at my craft and understanding my opponent and breaking them down and all that. But like, but it wasn't really something that I felt was my purpose in life. And it was like, football is life. I live and breathe and die football and all that. But it consumed so much of your time that I didn't really have that. Like, I didn't really get to do the stuff that I wanted to do. And then after football, it was like trying to find myself after football. And I think the hardest thing for me was finding myself after football and really, finding myself, discovering myself after football. I feel like that was probably the hardest thing that I ever had to do in my life, even harder than getting to the NFL, because
you lose that major identity piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bro. It's a super identity change. Yeah.
Yeah. I know we've spoken about that a little bit between Carol later in life, shifting out of a marriage and to be single and finding herself in her 40s. So I've been through it, leaving the military after 22 years, and you've been through a major life change, leaving the NFL, and you're no longer that guy. All that stuff is gone. Like, I've got uniforms hanging up. I can go get a flight suit on and put it on, but like, I can't go fly an airplane for the Navy right now. You know what I mean? You can go grab the jersey out of the closet, but that doesn't mean you can go, get nose to nose with these people. And as soon as the ball hikes, you tearing after the quarterback. You don't get to do that anymore. And it's a huge part of your identity.
So who would you consider was like a big mentor that kind of catapulted you into finding yourself?
Well, I did a lot of therapy, one, right? Because I also went through a divorce too, right after the league. And then, so that gave me a lot of time alone to
Yep.
to really reflect. So I became my own mentor in a sense, right? And really just, I started diving into things and, and building teams around me through those experiences. I started producing music events, right? That was one of the first things I did after. So I started producing music events. And so I created a festival in New York called Truth, Health, Culture. And it was food focused, and it was free to the community. We had music performers. So it was like a full on concert. So we had Erykah Badu performed. So it was a couple of them. Anderson .Paak performed, Mos Def, Talib Kweli. We had a bunch of people there. But damn, what was the question again? I kind of got off from there.
Mentors.
Oh, mentors. So I started picking up mentors through that. And I started meeting politicians and all that, and really just started trying to find what am I falling in love with, right? And it really is just, I had to create my own brand of it. And I realized that I just needed to become an entrepreneur and create my own thing, and I didn't want to become someone, work for someone else, because I already worked for the NFL, and that was and I just don't like
politics.
There's so much politics. The political is crazy. But so I started surrounding myself with entrepreneurial mentors and consultants and people in different spaces and things like that, because that's what I wanted to be, and that's the lane that I wanted to drive in, and so that and really learning how to from those mentors, learning how to utilize the tools that I gained through being in the NFL, understanding the politics in the NFL, the business side of the NFL, and understanding how to network and utilizing the network that I've already accumulated and things of that nature. You guys all know Dan, so and Chase, and they were really big for me in that. And so and then also in the movie scene with directing, I got mentors through them and spending time with them and learning from them. And it really just helped me to understand. I was telling somebody else, is like, man, these mentors, gathering these mentors and learning from them was better than I learned in anything I learned in college. It's better than a college degree. damn, I wasted my time. I should have just started building mentors right out, right out of high school. But
It's the best education you could ever receive.
It's the best education, but I didn't realize, like, I sort of had mentors in college and mentors in the league, but I didn't learn. That's the thing too. That's the big thing. I didn't learn how to, how to operate with a mentor, right? Like how to, okay, all right, mentor, this is what I want to do. This is my vision. Like, you can't, they're not psychic. You got to have a plan, understanding of how to utilize yourself and how they can help you, right? How they can utilize you. And that's what I didn't understand until after the league and well, not after the league, but like more towards the end of the league. And I'm not ashamed of it. There's a lot of older people who don't know how to use mentor, don't never had a mentor in their life. And so it's just like, you just got to know.
It doesn't matter where you are in your life, whether you're younger, older, whatever. It's when you get in touch with them, because you can have a vision, but if you don't have an idea of where you want to go, they can't help you with your vision.
They can't help you. They're not psychic. It's like you gotta show them how they can help you and how you can help them, right? And it's like they're not gonna have you around for nothing just to, you got to be able to produce. You got to do something. So
you mean they're not just going to hang around for shit and giggles and just like, hey, you're a cool dude, I want to hang out with you kind of thing?
No, that's not
right. Exactly. Everybody gets something out of somebody, and even they learn from you. Mm-hmm. It is a learning process all the way around for everybody, because everybody has something special to offer.
Right.
So some of it is what to do, and some of it is what not to do.
Exactly. And that's probably the most of it is what not to do, because you can just screw up. It's easy to screw it up. It's a lot easier to screw things up than it is to, just even in communication, right? Communication or team meetings or how you operate with your team and all that. There's a lot of ways to mess it up. And mentors, they give you those, read between the line tools, the things that the unwritten rules of business and all that the shortcuts and so mentors, everyone.
Yeah.
There's a lot of business coaches out there. I think Jim Rohn was the first to say that you're the average of the 5 closest people that you hang out with. And that's true. You move into a new place and everyone's got a hot rod. You're going to be finding yourself something to, control the streets with. You find out that the 5 people you're hanging around with, everyone goes to the gym. You're going to find yourself in the gym. If you get around the 5 people that are going to help you build your life, build your business, build your family, whatever it is, oh my goodness, get out of the way. That person is on a rocket ship path to the top of whatever industry they're doing, whatever they're in. And you'll have some people that hang around, some family, some whatever, some naysayers. Turn down the conversations with those people and turn up the conversations with the people that are going to really take you to that next level. The people that are interested in your future, that have already done it, have already been there, can show you the way. When we talk about mentors, it's not just that person that gets assigned to you in whatever organization you're in. It's who's that guy, that next level up or 2 levels up. And you're like, you cultivate that relationship with them. You work on whatever the thing is. You hold up that mirror and take that self-examination of, I'm doing some good things, but I'm hurting myself here, and here. I'm putting my foot in my mouth here, and I'm going home and eating meat. Oh, that's the worst. Eating meat. Wondering why I feel terrible. You guys are talking about your healthy diets. I just had a cheeseburger for lunch, But if you don't have those people around you that are helping hold you accountable, pushing you towards those things that you say that you want, I mean, what are you really doing? You just on the hamster wheel of life, wondering why your life is so terrible when everyone else's is so great.
Right. And what you were just saying, though, Travis, is just like, being real with yourself. Like, they're going to hold you accountable, but you have to also hold yourself accountable, right? You can't let your ego get in the way, right? And just be like, I'm good, I'm doing it. It's like, nah, bro, like you said, like, I'm shit here. I need to get better here. I need to do this. And one of the things that one of the most important things, especially if you're out here trying to get a mentor, is like, you got to be real with yourself. You got to be honest with yourself so you can grow. Understanding your weaknesses is a strength, right? That's one of the best strengths you can have, because then you can actually move in a way that you just get stronger immediately, because you need to know what spaces you can work in the best, and then you know what you need to work on, and then your mentors come and help you learn how to work on those things and get stronger. Then you immediately become stronger. And it's just, yeah. But a lot of people, the hardest thing that they have problems with is being accountable, because they're just in their own way, because they're just afraid to I don't know, just be human. It's like,
I think they spread themselves too thin too, because everybody wants to believe, oh, I'm a jack of all trades. Well, the truth is, stay in your lane. Each of us has something that we're good at, and we can't be good at everything. But recognizing that, so that you can stay in your lane and have, surround yourself with the people that fill in what I like to call the blind spots, is crucial. Because I'm not good at everything, but I am good at certain things. And I have people that fill in my blind spots, and they protect me. And so if they see me going down an avenue like, oh, have you thought about this, and this? No, because I was thinking about the end goal. If you have those people there, they kind of rein you in and go, okay, these things need to be in place before you can move forward. Because if you move forward without these in place, you're going to deal with legalities at the end. And you don't know what you don't know. It's just, if you can stay in your lane and understand that, then it's good for everybody.
Exactly. And that's where just be in your lane. Like, even the guys who end up playing the longest in the league are, you got guys who play multiple positions and all that. That's great. But there are guys who are just really good at one thing. Special teams guy, he's fast, and he's the runner. He's going to get down to the field. And if he could do that consistently every day, every game, he'll play for 10 years at that one position and won't play anything else. And he'll be playing in the league for 10 years. And it's like, and like you said, it's like, if you just can do that and allow your team to work around you, and they can depend on you for, like, that person's going to do what they're good at, and they're going to stay in their lane, and then they're going to allow us to work and do our best in our lanes. That's a wonderful person to have on your team, because you can count on them. And then it just makes it easier for you, because you just got to worry about what's in your lane. And you can get better at what you want to get better at as you go along, is just stay in your lane and do what you got to do. But
it sounds like an easy concept, but all of us want to be that jack of all trades, right? Like, oh, I'm good at everything.
That's the trap.
It is.
Because it's just like, it's like you like you said, you're spread so thin, you're spinning all these plates. It's just like, just do one thing, focus on that. And then, our brains are not designed for multitasking. So it's just like, focus on the one thing that you need to focus on, and create your environment, or whatever it is, your journey. Like, you have to set that up for yourself, right? You have to paint your own picture. You have to lay your framework and position yourself in a way to where you're not spread out all over the place. Because another thing is this too, because people are going to try to put you here and put you there. It's like, you need to figure out what you're good at. Don't let other people make decisions for you. It's your life. It's your it's your well-being, right? Figure out what you're going to do, and don't allow other people to be like, you should do this, you should do that. Because I experienced that, with football. After football, people are always going to be throwing things at you. What are you going to do? Because this is your life and your journey.
I'm 5 months post-retirement from the Navy. And when I look at the things that I've done in the Navy, the qualifications I've got, the different things I'm able to do, and I stack all these things up, like, there is a whole world of things that I'm able to do, that I have the capacity, the ability, the qualifications to go out and do all these things. But then the question is, what am I really good at? What really gets me excited? And what do I want to do? Where do I want to put my effort now that I have this time and ability to do this? And, over the summer and over the last few months, I've been really racking my brain and working with some quality mentors that they're helping me refine what it is that I want to do, who I want to be. Like, who is Travis 3.0? Not Travis the kid, not Travis, the military guy, but Travis, the military retiree, which sounds crazy to say at 40 that I'm a retiree of something. Football players, they retire at all ages in their 20s and stuff. Like, I'm retired from the NFL, and you're like, "You're retired? You're 22." I know what happens, but this process, this is something that everyone experiences through whatever phase of life they happen to be in. Where do they want to put their time, talent, and treasure? Where do they want to put those things that they've built up? In what lane and what thing and what industry, or what do they want to do with themselves? And it's not an easy thing to figure out. You mentioned the ego earlier, and the ego is there. We talk about it as bravado a lot, but really an ego, what the ego is trying to do is trying to keep you safe. And as it's doing that, it's telling you that you don't have to examine yourself because you're good where you're at. It's telling you that you don't have to go try the new thing because you're already good at whatever the thing is. It tells you that, oh, this other person doesn't know what they're talking about, because who knows you better than you? And it makes you feel all warm and safe inside, but that prevents you from growing, from figuring out what your true purpose is and really making the colossal impact that you're trying to make in the world.
Self-sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. And I like to say this is like, you have to figure out what your premium package product is, right? You are the premium package product, right? What does that look like, right? What tools do you have? All right. I'm this, like, okay, I've done production. I have these contacts in sports, or, okay, I understand culture, understand teamwork and things like, okay, so an entrepreneur, I have business knowledge. All right. So how do I take all of that, list these things? Okay, what am I going to do with myself? Right? Where am I going? What lane am I going to go down? If I put myself here, how will I be able to track and grow in that space? And is this what I want to do? Am I going to fall in love with this? Right? Because I want to love what I'm doing, so I'm not working. I'm just, this is what I do. If you love what you do,
living life.
Right. Yeah. And so you have to understand what your premium package product is. So when you go and pitch yourself as an expert in this space, or when you're even talking to yourself, right? And you're like, this is what I do because I know this is what I do, and I'm confident in it because these are the tools that I have. This is the knowledge base that I've acquired along my journey, and this is how I'm presenting it. And I present this premium package product to you as this, so, I mean, like, look at you, Travis, your all of your service and everything, and your knowledge of, you're a great public speaker, you're a comedian, you should be, if you're not, but like all of these things. And it is like how you packaged yourself into what you're doing now. Same thing with you, Carol. I mean, shit. Motorcycles and all this stuff, and it's just crazy. And you package yourself so much, you created a whole brand, and it's like, it's easy for me to sell you, and you too, Travis, because it's like I understand what your premium package product is, and it's premium, and I'd be like, yo, you should check this person out. You should check this person out, because you guys understand what your premium package product is. It's easy for you to sell yourself, and it's easier for other people to sell you as well.
I agree. I 100% agree. So now we're talking about premium packages. What's your premium package these days? Because you've done a lot.
Oh, yeah. So me and Reggie, we're talking, yeah, it's got Top Athlete Life, and that's more in the corporate wellness space for us. But we're also, we're athletes, right? Both of us. And we got the Game Within the Game, which is it's a college accredited course accredited through Forbes Business School and Knowledge Innovation Center. And we've got it in some universities already across the country. And it's available for high school students, right? So that's our demographic, is 10th grade to college, and any level, any year of college. But it's for student athletes to help them to understand what their premium package product is, right? And giving them the tools to understand like their strengths and their weaknesses, taking them down this journey to understand their strengths, their weaknesses, understanding how to interact with their teammates, how to learn and grow with your teammates, right? Building team chemistry. You need a formula for building your team chemistry. And, even at the pro level, a lot of guys don't know how, coaches don't know how to do that. And understanding your why, right? Why do you do this? Why do you get up in the morning and bust your ass at practice every day and go to the gym, right? What is the driving force behind that? Not only what you're driving for, what's your teammate's driving force, right? When you understand that about your teammate, then their teammate is not just your teammate anymore, they're your friend, right? You guys can work together. You guys work out together. If they're having a bad day, you know how to pick them back up. And because you need them, because if their head's not in the game, then, that's your weak link, and that could lose the game for you, right? And it's the same thing in business. These tools, you need to know who your coach is. You need to know that your coach is your coach. They're not your father figure or your mother figure, your sister or whatever, brother. They're your coach. If you don't produce, they're going to sit your ass down on the bench, and you're, you need to understand these things and moving forward, and having this information is like pre-care for a student athlete, preventative care, because if you don't have this information, you don't have a framework to guide you down this journey, it's going to be, it's problematic. I've seen a lot of students, that be on suicide watch, and, some of the teammates commit suicide, go down the, to a bad place, because it's a stressful environment. You're essentially taking on 2 full-time jobs, school and sports, right? So,
but don't you think it's because they're so individualized? Like, education teaches you that this is your education, so it only focuses on you as an individual, versus what you're discussing in your curriculum, which is including everybody. It's collectively. You're playing a team sport, not just an individual sport. And we're not taught that in school. We're taught in school, get an education, get a degree, and then go get a job, right? And what you're portraying in your curriculum is, hey, you're not alone. And maybe that's part of the reason why we have these issues with suicide, is because everybody feels alone based on this traditional education.
Right. Because, the sports mindset, the sports culture, and the coaching and all, it's antiquated, right? It's extremely antiquated. And the culture, it needs to be developed. Like, it's very important, because a lot of students are dealing with this, like there's a lot of stuff going on at the pro level, right? Where the coaches are kicking players and yelling at players, and it's crazy, right? It's like, these are grown men. You need to treat like this man like a grown man. Like, this isn't you know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. And so the lack of mental health support at the pro level is insane. And just imagine it, going to college, it's no better. It's worse, because they have less money to put towards those things, and they have more athletes. So, and then also, at the high school level, you can only imagine what it is there. The mental health and all of that. The coaches are not as experienced. The staff, the schools can only provide so much when it comes to therapy and all that. So just imagine what these students are dealing with. And then, it just hasn't been changed, and it just needs to evolve. And this is our approach to, I love that picture, Travis. This is our approach to addressing that, right? This is how we address that, is you have to empower the individuals, right? We can't expect the system to change, because the system, it's just the system, and, the bureaucracy and all that stuff. We have to make changes where the shit is rolling downhill, is rolling down on the students and the players. So let's empower those students to be stronger and to build a stronger foundation for themselves, so they can make those changes themselves, right? Because
they need to feel like they have resources.
Yeah, and you have more resources, and you can get college credit for it. So it's great, and so we're doing well with that, and that's just taking off really well. And it feels like every week, we're just on the phone with schools. So I'm not complaining. So,
is this where you envisioned you would eventually be? I mean, with all the stuff that you were, planning for your quote unquote life?
Man, that's the crazy thing about life, man. You just don't know what a plan. God laughs at plans, and this is not at all what I thought. This is not at all what I thought it was going to be. Like working in education, I didn't think, like, well, I guess because I was doing public speaking, but, it definitely wasn't to this capacity. And, but I'm very happy that it is, Excuse
me. Yeah, you can touch a lot of people with what you do.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're talking about the mental health piece. That's a big deal. And that's one of the reasons that I share my story so often as part of my speaking and what I do. It gives people the permission to share their story and lets them know they're not alone in their own story. We talked earlier about cancer. Like, we don't have a healthcare system in this country. We have a sick care system. The only thing in this country that's healthcare is dentistry, where we actually do preventative things as part of the culture of the system. Everything else is sick care. We need to go to the doctor. I've been the doctor in 6 years. Why are you coming in? Because I don't feel well. Like, you go in because you're sick, not because the healthcare system is a thing. It's medical. I love that you didn't say healthcare, that you said medical services, because it's not healthcare. That's not what it is. We need to understand as a people that the emotions that we experience based on the traumas of life, and everyone has them. Some of them are capital T trauma, some of them are lowercase t trauma, but they're still trauma. We have to understand that everyone goes through these things, that everyone struggles with it. I'm so happy that you shared that you went through therapy. I know I have, and I know Carol has. It's one of the many tools available, but again, that's more aftercare than preventative care. We need to understand that everyone goes through things, that people, no matter what age they are, have the capacity to tell you what's wrong, and then you have to believe them, and then you have to help them work through it. And most of us didn't have the tools to do so. I know when my kids came to me with problems, I wasn't fully healed from all the stuff that happened to me when I was a kid. I'm barely knowing how to take care of my own life. Now I've got other lives that depend on me, and I'm not well enough to take care of them. What does that look like? I'm sure they're damaged. And I'm sure that happens to every family out there and perpetuates in some way, shape, or form. So I love that you guys put together the game within a game, you and Reggie, and are helping push that around the country to give kids a better look at what it's like in some of these avenues and what they can do to get the help that they need.
Right, because you need community, and community definitely helps with mental health, right? Because we're all siloed, like you were saying, in our own issues, and really no one's really talking about it because they don't know how. And in sports, it's like, are you hurt or are you injured? Right? They teach you, they drill it in you, just like in the Marines, military, Air Force, and all that. It's like, you got to be tough. You got to be tough. You got to be tough. But it's also, it's like I said, it's antiquated, and it's literally killing people because they're trapped in all that stuff and they don't know how to talk about it. And then they just sort of like, just forget it. I'm done with it. I'm going to kill myself. And that's what a lot of times it turns out to be. And you look at, even Sun Tzu, Art of War, the easiest way to kill your enemy is to isolate them. And so, people are isolated in their own feelings and isolated in their issues. And like you said, they don't realize that, this is actually pretty commonplace, but we just never had the language to speak to it. You look at the mental health industry, right? That the term mental health really didn't become a real conversation until, the 2000s, right? The mid 2005, whatever. They're just now addressing it in college sports, not because they want to, but because they're being forced to by the students who are coming out and talking about it, because they don't have, they gotta say something. They're trying to stop all the rest of the kids from going through what they went through. Mm-hmm. And so it's, yeah, man. And I think it's just great as a nation and as a world that we're actually becoming more comfortable talking about these things. And and it's the time. We just had COVID and all this other stuff. And whenever there's a huge disaster or huge something like the Great Depression, mental health is always one of the main conversations that always comes up. And it's a good time for us right now to actually have these, so we can really start to pivot and grow as a people and as a community. So yeah, that's it.
That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I think we aren't allowed to be vulnerable, right? People see that as a weakness, and seeking therapy can be seen as a weakness. But in reality, how do you get stronger if you don't face those issues? And if you're not better, how can you better your children? How can you provide the advice they need, and even ask them to like possibly even go see a therapist as well to deal with the other issues that I'm sure, for my children, I helped help them have through my own issues growing up too, because you only know what you know, and we can't help but repeat those patterns. To break those patterns, we have to change.
So that's the ticket, right? You listening to this, you have permission to get and seek help. We've all done it. Everyone here. We got a motorcycle race team owner, former military flyer. We've got former NFL player. You have permission to go seek help for your mental. And then being authentic, real, and vulnerable does not make you weak. We even talked about this with Juanita last week. Like, her big mistake.
She's amazing.
Her big mistake was not asking for help when she was homeless. That was her mistake. That was the problem.
She is badass, bro. Oh my God, I love that woman. Yeah, she is amazing, and then like that goes to what I was telling you, because she's military too, right? She were military, right? Am I getting that right?
Yes.
Okay, but and she's tough as nails. But it does good things for her, but it also could be your weakness, right? And so it's just like, yeah, and you got to be able to. And if you can't see that, it becomes like poison. It just kills you. But also, you have to really give yourself that permission to take a step away from the fire and really observe yourself, right? You have to take, count for like, who am I, where am I, where do I want to go, right? What direction am I? I'm seeing myself going this way, but that's not right. Where do I want to go? And then you just go and you see that, and you just write it down on a grease board, so you can make it a visual work, something for you to do. And then you can just sort of map out your journey. And it's not going to be perfect, but you can start making changes in your life. Just take a step away from the fire and look at it and look at it in a different perspective. Yeah. But yeah, I don't got nothing else.
He's done, ladies and gentlemen. That's it from David Carter. He's all out of words, apparently.
Yeah.
We're all said and done.
So what have you got up and coming? Because you're always doing something. I mean, Jesus Christ, every time I talk to Reg, it's like, oh, we're doing this. I'm like, shit, do you guys ever sleep?
No.
When you go full weekend, you don't have to sleep.
No, yeah, you don't have to sleep. Sleep is overrated. No. Yeah, well, we're really going hard on this and getting it in all these schools. Like I said, every day we're on the phone with another school, and we're really on a mission to make this like mandatory curriculum for all student athletes, right? And it's going well. But we're so if there's any Secretary of Education, if you're listening to this show when it comes out, this is what we want to do. Yeah, we're going into speaking now, and to speaking about this mission with Game Within the Game, and really looking to just change the sports culture, right? Because it needs to be changed, because people's lives are hanging in the balance.
Right.
Like me and Reggie says all the time, I say it, there are people who've been on, we've seen kickers on suicide watch because they missed a kick in the big game. And, they're getting booed by the whole entire school, or when they walk into class, they got a brick in their windshield when they get out of the stadium from the game. There's just so much stuff going on. And that's like, whatever. But then it's deep. It's extremely layered like an onion. And there's just a lot of things that players need. And if they just have a framework, so our goal is to just change the sports culture and just really provide as much support for student athletes and so they don't have to deal with the same things that we dealt with coming up. So,
well, if they could embrace the haters, kind of aspect of it, and Dan's talked about it many times, right? Where even with us, you're nobody until you got a shit ton of haters,
You
because
put that
at
quote
the end
on
of the
a
day, that
t-shirt,
means
you
you're
start
doing
selling
something.
it. That's how you make your first million is
right?
Yeah, they
feeling
should
your
make that a
stuff off
shirt.
the haters. Yeah.
But we all know, like, we take things very personally because we care, and we care about what we're doing, our mission, our goals, and affecting people in a positive way. So when you see somebody that doesn't like you, our I think go-to is to make them like us. But at the end of the day, we can't get everybody to like us. So, I thought that was pretty moving, and made me change my perspective on it. Was, you can't make everybody happy. So if you've got haters, that means you're doing something.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of guys hate you because you be whipping their ass on their motorcycles, making them look bad.
No.
I think about that all the time. Some guy probably talking shit to you, and then you just it's weird. You just do all kind of crazy
So
stuff.
when are you coming out?
I'm coming out, and I'm gonna stay for like 2 weeks, and you're gonna train me. I'm gonna get the seat hours or bike hours and get it in, because I've always wanted to ride a motorcycle, but I'm straight up. I'm afraid I'll do it in the safety of your facility, and then work my way out. Because the last time, I don't know if I told you, the first time I got on a motorcycle, the first time I burned myself on the exhaust, right? That was when I was a kid. I had this huge burn on my leg. And then the second time I got on the motorcycle, I was trying to ride it. It was a dirt bike, right? It wasn't a motorcycle. And I pulled the throttle back too far, and I held onto the handle onto the handles, and the bike went from underneath my legs, right? I was crouched on the bike, went from underneath my legs to over my head. and I held onto it, and then like, I was big. I was like 270. I was in high school. 260, 270.
Why did you let go?
I don't know. I didn't even know the bike was going to take off, but I held on to it, and I ended up saving the bike, and I didn't die. I didn't get hurt, but it was just an interesting experience to have the motorcycle over my head. And yeah.
You whiskey throttled the crap out of your bike. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, dirt bike's just a little bit different too, but we can't hurt David on that. But hey, David, as we're getting ready to wrap up here, where is the one place you would like people to connect you to for Game Within a Game? And then what advice would you have to anyone listening to the show that may be struggling with something right now?
So you can link me on LinkedIn. I'm David Carter on LinkedIn, but then Game Within the Game, you can go to thegamewithinthegame.com, and you have all the information on me and Reggie and what we're doing and why we're doing it. And also you can purchase the course there. You have the college accredited version that's available there through Forbes Business School, as well as the certificate version for the parents, because parents need this information too, right? Both, like I said, both me and my brother both played in the NFL. We got drafted on the same day. And there was we made it to the league because, me and my brother just work hard. We have my family military background, and my mom's police. They had us very disciplined. But there was a lot of stuff that my parents didn't know, and a lot of mistakes they made, that if they had the information that we're providing within Game Within the Game, would have made all the difference. But I mean, we still got there. So, I mean, thanks, Mom and Dad. But, it's just parents. It would just help because you're the one that they need your help. You're their parent, right? They're parents. So
how about Top Athlete Life?
Top Athlete Life, you can go to topathletelife.com, and that's more corporate wellness for understanding teamwork and understanding who you are, and then also understanding how to operate within a team, within the corporate space, for especially like research and development teams, sales teams, C-suites. You need to understand all of that. You need to understand, how not to be a team me person in that kind of space, because it's really easy to be a team me individual in the corporate space, and that ruins deals, that ruins the innovation process, the creative process, all of that. So so we teach all that with Top Athlete Life. And then to the last question, it was it like, what
advice
do you do
you
going
have
forward?
for anyone that's listening that's struggling with something right now? What would you tell them?
Don't be afraid to be human. Take a step back and evaluate yourself. Understanding your strength, understanding your weaknesses is a huge strength. So you know how to move properly, and you'll start taking strides and baby steps first and quickly start making huge strides because you understand how to move now. And that was one of the biggest things that helped me in my journey, is understanding, like, all right, like I want to be all this, and, listening to my ego, like, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, that, and the other. Nah, bro, sit your ass down. This is what you're good at. You're not good at that. And when you understand that, it really allows you to move in a way and to be more useful to whatever environment you're in, whatever team you're on, and whatever your journey and your vision is. You can see it a lot clearer because you don't have you're going to hit less obstacles that way. And, yeah. And then this is another thing. Never give up, bro. Just always pivot. Learn how to pivot, right? If you hit a wall, if somebody says no, that doesn't mean no for everything. Like, someone else will say yes. Maybe that's the better option. They have better resources. You can work with them, JV, whatever, right? Like, no doesn't mean no. No just means no from them. And it might just mean no right now. It don't mean no later, right? Don't be afraid to go back to the drawing board, right? That's the same thing as I'm saying. Don't be afraid to evaluate yourself in your project. Don't be afraid to go back to the drawing board and figure it out. List your resources. List what your position is. List your resources. Do a match and, like a detective board, and try to match and see where, what fits what. When you understand how to move and you understand how to like when you're playing the game of chess with your life, you need to know how to use your pieces around you, right? Not use them, but work with them, right? And so it's if you do that, it really makes a change, because a lot of people are stuck because they don't know where to move next or how to move. You gotta figure yourself out. You gotta be real with yourself, and it's okay to be real with yourself. It's scary, but when you get to the other side, you'll be like, man, I'm really glad I did this, bro. I really I'm more in touch with myself. Your anxiety goes away, all kinds of stuff. So you understand that, you can go a long way in life.
I love it. Great words from our guest, David Carter. From Carol and myself, thank you so much for listening today.
That's all for this episode of Titan Evolution Podcast. We hope this no-holds-barred conversation opened your eyes on what it takes to live a genuinely happy life according to your own terms. Now that you've treated yourself to such a refreshing discussion, you cannot listen to nonsense content anymore. Be sure not to miss an episode by subscribing to the show at TitanEvolutionPodcast.com. Don't forget to share the word so more people can be enlightened, informed, and entertained. Thank you for listening.